Have you come across real estate agents comes to you and sell their products? They mention about commercial titles and residential titles. Do you know the difference between the two titles? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. My name is Donald. This is LegacyTV. Commercial properties and residential properties. It's pretty obvious from the words itself, right? So basically, commercial properties are for business purposes, residential properties are for staying in purposes. But I'm sure you heard of Airbnb. Basically, it's a condo for staying purposes, but it's under a commercial title. There is a difference between these two titles, so before you make a decision which property to buy, you might just want to finish up this video. So aside from the difference between the titles, another thing that you need to look into is the tax and the utility charges. So for example, your residential properties, your water bill and your electrical bill tend to be cheaper as compared to commercial titles. And as for the tax purposes, when you stay in a condo, you have JMC and Management Corporation. There they have service charges, right? But there's no tax on these service charges. As compared to commercial title, when all the management charge, there's a service tax charge on those services. Then the second thing you need to consider is the loan margin. The loan margin that you have for residential title, first and the second property, you are entitled to get 90% depending on your financial strength. The first, second property, you get 90% loan, and your third, you get 70% loan. But as for your commercial properties, the maximum you can get is 85% loan. Nowadays, there's new packages from some banks that actually offers residential properties at 100% loan. The next thing that you need to consider is the rental yield. Rental for your residential properties tends to stay at a peak for a certain period of time. For commercial titles, the rental tends to increase as the demand comes in. So that's why commercial titles tend to have better rental return as compared to residential title. The next thing that you need to consider is the rental stability. Tenants that stays in residential properties tend to stay 1 year or 2 years. Unlikely they're going to stay more than 3 years or 5 years. As for compared to your commercial properties, your tenant comes in, they spend a lot of money renovating the place. So unlikely they're going to leave in a short-term period, unless business is not good for them. One last factor I'd like to talk about is tenant accountability. For residential properties, for example your condo, you were to rent out your property with furniture and electrical goods. So after 1-2 years renting out to your tenant, you might find your furniture to be dirty, some of your electrical goods spoiled. But for commercial titles, you basically rent your unit empty, bare unit. So your tenant will come in and spend lots of money renovating the place, for example a restaurant. But before they moved out, they have to demolish everything, reinstate it into the original spec the moment they rent from you. So there you go, 6 factors for you to consider before buying a property. The first one, the title deeds, tax and utilities, your loan margin, rental return, rental stability, and your tenant accountability. So happy hunting. I'm Donald from Legacy Real Estate. See you next time.